Hello and good morning from Vilnius, Lithuania. My name is Jeff Heist, and first of all I want to wish the entire congregation there at Zion a very happy 150th anniversary. For me, that is truly a milestone that Zion has had a continuing ministry there in the community for that amount of time. I pray for your ministry to continue another 150 years there in the community, proclaiming God's grace through us to the person of Jesus Christ. Pastor today had asked me to read one of the readings, but to share a little of the impact that Zion had on my life. My time spent at Zion was pretty much in my childhood, let's say up to the age of 18. And as I look back now, I would say that I received a strong foundation in our faith in Jesus Christ through my time there at Zion. Even things that I can remember back today. One example that kind of pops into my head that's sort of a childish example, but when I was very small, the church that we used was the old church across the street. And I remember many times the pastor talking about and using the word mercy. And he would say again, mercy. And I remember thinking, mercy, is that a person? Who is this person? But as I continued to grow, I understood that the idea of mercy is us not getting what we do deserve. And in the spiritual sense, that I deserved punishment for my sin, but God in His mercy sent His Son, Jesus Christ, to pay for that sin. So that's a small example. And also, I think back to my time in catechism class, that we received a very strong foundation in our belief in Jesus Christ today. And those many times I think back to things that I might have learned in confirmation class. In my current ministry here in Lithuania, as you know, me and my wife Alvita work and minister to university students here in Lithuania. And many have very little understanding of what God is like or why Jesus came in the first place. That the things I learned even as a child, those things I still use today. But today's reading that I'd like to read now is from the book of 1 Kings, chapter 8, starting in verse 22, continuing on to verse 30. Then Solomon stood before the altar of the Lord in front of the whole assembly of Israel, spread out his hands toward heaven, and said, O Lord, God of Israel, there is no God like you in heaven above or on earth below. You who keep your covenant of love with your servants, who continue wholeheartedly in your way. You have kept your promise to your servant David, my father. With your mouth you have promised, and with your hand you have fulfilled it, as it is today. Now, Lord, God of Israel, keep your servant David, my father, the promises you made to him, when you said, You shall never fail to have a man to sit before me on the throne of Israel, if only your sons are careful in all they do to walk before me, as you have done. And now, O God of Israel, let your word that you have promised your servant David, my father, come true. But will God really dwell on earth? The heavens, even the highest heaven, cannot contain you. How much less this temple I have built? Yet give attention to your servant's prayer and his plea for mercy. O Lord my God, hear the cry and the prayer that your servant is praying in your presence this day. May your eyes be open toward this temple night and day, this place of which you said, My name shall be there, so that you will hear the prayer your servant prays toward this place. Hear the supplication of your servant and your people Israel when they pray toward this place. Hear from heaven, your dwelling place, and when you hear, forgive. This is the word of the Lord.